We need legality and integrity in our immigration system. That's why the Department of Homeland Security is now referring 100% of illegal southwest border crossings to the Department of Justice for prosecution. And the Department of Justice will take up these cases. I have put in place a zero-tolerance policy for illegal entry on our southwest border. If you cross the border unlawfully, then we will prosecute you. It's that simple. If you smuggle illegal aliens across our border, then we will prosecute you. If you are smuggling a child, then we will prosecute you. And that child may be separated from you as required by law. If you make false statements to an immigration officer or file a fraudulent asylum claim, that's a felony. If you help others do so, that's a felony also. You're going to the jail. So if you're going to come to this country, come here legally. Don't come here illegally. In order to carry out these important policies, I have sent 35 prosecutors to the southwest border and moved 18 immigration judges to the border. These are supervisory immigration judges that don't have existing caseloads and will be able to function full-time on moving these cases. There will be about a 50% increase in the number of immigration judges who will be handling asylum claims. These actions are necessary, and they are made even more necessary by the massive increases in illegal crossings in recent months. In this February, saw a 55% increase in apprehensions over February last year. This March saw a triple number from last March, and April saw a triple number from last April. Those were the first months of the Trump administration which saw some dramatic reductions. These trends are clear. These trends must end. 11 million people are here already illegally. That's more than the population of Portugal or Georgia. This situation, of course, is many years in the making. For decades, the American people have been pleading with their elected representatives for a lawful system of immigration that serves the national interest, and a system that we can all, as a nation, be proud of. That is not too much to ask. The American people are right and just and decent to ask for this. They are right to want a safe, secure border and a government that knows who is here and who isn't. Donald Trump ran for office on that idea. I believe that this is a big reason why he won. He is on the fire about this. This entire government knows how strongly he feels about it. The American people have a right to expect that the laws their representatives voted for are going to be carried out. Failure to enforce our duly enacted laws would be an affront to the American people and a threat to our system of government and the rule of law. And these laws are the most generous immigration laws in the world. We accept 1.1 million permanent legal residents every year. That's more than the population of Montana every single year. These are the highest numbers in the world. In addition, we allow 600,000 job takers, workers into the country each year, and hundreds of thousands of students. I have no doubt that many of those crossing our border illegally are leaving behind difficult situations. But we cannot take everyone on this planet who is in a difficult situation. According to a Gallup poll from a few years ago, 150 million people around the world would like to immigrate to the United States now. So it's obvious we cannot take everyone who wants to come here without also impacting the citizens and interests of the American people that we're sworn to protect. We have to have limits, and Congress has set limits. And if you want to change the laws and alter the limits, that should be done through Congress. American people would have to lead that change. But I think they feel good about the limits that we have, and they like to see them enforced. Immigrants should ask to apply lawfully before they enter the country, of course. Citizens of other countries don't get to violate our laws or rewrite our laws. People around the world have no right to demand entry into this country. It would be a violation of our sovereignty and our law. So we have a great nation, the greatest in the history of the world. It's no surprise that people want to come here, but they must do so properly. They must follow our laws or not come here at all. Make no mistakes, the objections, the lawsuits, sanctuary jurisdiction often evidence a theory of open borders. They simply seem to say that no immigration law can be enforced no matter what. That's the very definition of no law or open borders. And so this department, under President Trump's leadership, is enforcing the law without exception. We will finally secure this border so that we can give the American people the safety and peace of mind that they deserve. Tom Holman will also speak next. I want to congratulate Adam Braverman, our acting United States attorney here. We've asked him to step up the effort in this sector, and he's done a fabulous job at that. Your numbers are going to double the last 2 years' numbers this year in prosecutions at the border, and I know you have additional ideas to do better than that. So, Tom, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the leadership you've given to your country and the patriotism you've displayed.
I do not have prepared remarks. The Attorney General said a lot what I was going to say, but I just want to add a few things. First of all, to the Attorney General, DHS stands shoulder to shoulder with him. The men and women of the Border Patrol, OFO, ICE, Secret Service. The Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Nielsen, is a strong advocate for law enforcement. She's a strong advocate for the rule of law. We're grateful she's our secretary. She has empowered these law enforcement agencies to enforce the laws enacted by Congress. We aren't making any laws up. We're enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. These are laws on the books, laws that we all took an oath to enforce. So our secretary has her back in this. She's a strong secretary, and I appreciate her leadership on this issue. I want to do just a couple issues. First of all, I see a lot of stories today about how we created a new policy about separating families. I want to be clear. DHS does not have a blanket policy on separating families as a deterrent. We have always separated families under two situations. One, where we can't establish that as a parent, and that child is being trafficked. Children have been abused by alien smuggling organizations. We have numerous cases about that, so we need to ensure that people claiming to be a parent is a parent. Second issue when we separate is when someone's prosecuted. Every law enforcement agency in this country separates parents from children when they're arrested for a crime. We are a law enforcement agency. We are enforcing the criminal laws. So I want to make that perfectly clear. There is no new policy. This has always been the policy. Now, you will see more prosecutions because the Attorney General's commitment to zero tolerance. Finally, I usually don't address hecklers, but I want to address this one. The only shame in this media event is people that want a call out, American patriots, men that stand all around me in these uniforms, that strap a gun to their hip every day, leave the safety and security of their homes every day to defend this nation and defend the community. They're doing their sworn oath. That is our job. If people like the heckler don't like what we do, then talk to your congressman and change the law. We are enforcing laws enacted by Congress. I am proud to stand by these men and women surrounding you that defend this nation every day. As far as the evilness is the transnational criminal organizations that get bankrolled by the continuous enticement to enter this country illegally by sanctuary cities and people that want to commit fraud in the asylum process. That's the evil. People are dying trying to enter this country. We got to stop enticing illegal entry. There's a right way to enter this country. There's a wrong way to enter this country. I don't blame anybody if you want to be the greatest country on earth, being a part of this greatest country on earth, which we all are. But there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. You can't want to be a part of the greatest country on earth and not respect its laws. Thank you.
session talk, you talked about asylum, whether that asylum claim will figure at all in your calculations and whether to prosecute, and also if you can address this opponent's point. Do you expect the policy to lead to increased families who separate?
The asylum policies are different than the normal illegal immigrant. Most of the asylum claims are being filed when the people go to the ports of entry, and they then go through a different court system. It's the Department of Justice immigration judges that handle those cases. We've seen a tenfold increase in the last 10 years in asylum claims. Many of those claims are not justified. Only about 20% are being approved by the judges after hearings. So we will send more judges so that we can proceed with those cases faster. We don't want to separate families, but we don't want families to come to the border illegally and attempt to enter into this country improperly. We urge them not to do so, not to come themselves illegally, and even worse, to bring their children with them or some other children. Many of the children are being brought by people who aren't their parents. So this is just the way the world works. The parents are subject to prosecution while children may not be. And so if we do our duty and prosecute those cases, then children inevitably for a period of time might be in different conditions, being held by Health and Human Services rather than the United States Marshal Service. Well, persons who enter our border, even if they want to claim asylum and don't come through the port of entry where we have processing there, would be subject to prosecution, yes. They may yet still be able to make a claim of asylum. They'd be subject for the improper entry. We're looking at this entire process of asylum claims, and we've got some of our best lawyers thinking through it. But we've got some improvements to do, I think.
Yeah. If I find the response, look, everybody's going to get the due process. I want to be clear. Are some of these families have a solid case for escaping fear and persecution? Certainly. But many don't. So they'll get their due process. They'll get to see a judge. But at the end of that, you can't ask to give due process to not accept the decisions by a federal judge. So once we have a decision, if they lose their case and they've been ordered removed, then we need to remove those folks based on the federal judge's order. So everybody will get the due process.
Attorney General, do you have a reaction to Congressman Nunez saying that he's going to urge fellow lawmakers to hold him in contempt? It's understanding that he did reply to this subpoena.
The Department of Justice has written him a letter and responded as appropriate to him. The request he's made is one that the intelligence communities and Department of Justice feels is not grantable. We've explained that we'd be willing to talk to him about it before, the details of which I couldn't discuss.
Now, is that going forward or retroactive to, like, let's say someone who went to the country 20 years ago, will you prosecute the person?
Essentially, we'll be processing, focusing on going forward.
Just to make sure, Mr. Sessions, at what point a parent is going to be charged with a crime if he or she comes their children with them and ask for asylum?
We will be handling those cases on a case-by-case basis, but people who enter unlawfully, not at the port of entry, are subject to being prosecuted even if they claim asylum. The proper place to claim asylum would be at the port of entry or other designated places by the United States government.
Okay, let's take one more. So you are the third high-ranking official from this administration to come to the Southern California border in the last 3 weeks. Why was it necessary to be here to talk about this today, and how much is that costing taxpayers dollars to it?
Well, the illegal flow of immigrants into the country is costing us a good deal. We want to see those numbers go down. California and South Texas are two of the biggest areas with the highest numbers of illegal entrants. That's why we are focusing here. But I have to say, our goal is to have the whole world know that this border is not open. Don't come unlawfully. Don't put yourself or your family through such a stressful thing. It will impact your ability in the future to be admitted if you've been convicted of attempting to enter unlawfully now. So don't come unlawfully. Make your claim. Wait your turn.
Okay, one more.
I want to add to that question, man. Look, about what is the cost of coming here doing this today? What cost are you going to put on a human life? This isn't just about enforcing the law. This is about saving lives. I mean, I've seen my own eyes, my 34-year career, I've seen children that died crossing this border. I've seen women that have been raped by these organizations. So being here today, it's not just talking about law enforcement, it's talking about there's a right way and wrong way, and don't enter illegally in the desert. Don't enter illegally between the ports of entry. If you have a clear claim to asylum, go to the port of entry where you're safe. This isn't just about law enforcement. This is about saving lives, and stop sending the message it's okay to hire an alien smuggler organization to get to this country. People are dying. People are being abused. So I wouldn't put a cost on the lives we're saving here today.
Okay, last one because you were waiting.
Yeah, you mentioned that this is not a new policy separating the children from the parents. So what has it been like in practice? Has that policy not been enforced kind of 100% across the line? Children and parents together more against what will happen in this one?
The policy's always been the same. We separate families for two reasons. We've done it because we've established or couldn't establish that that parent is actually a parent. Now, we've had a situation where children have been trafficked. We have situations where the same child was brought across the border several times in a time period by different people claiming to be parents. So obviously, he's being trafficked. We got intelligence that shows alien smuggling organizations are making children available to single adults so they can come claim to be a family unit and not be detained. We've always separated. When we criminally prosecute somebody, we arrest somebody for criminal violation and they're with a child, they got to be separated, just like every law enforcement agency in this country does. We've done that. With the announcement from the Attorney General that there's now zero tolerance, you're going to see more of that. Well, I want to make something clear. There's no blanket policy to separate families for a deterrence message. That the policy remains the same. There's just going to be more of what we've been doing based on the zero tolerance policy.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi all. You just saw there was a press conference in California that was Attorney General Jeff Sessions speaking with another. I believe he's with Homeland Security. I missed his title, but I know he has spoken before on that. I might be a California official. Anyway. Sessions had spoken. There have been a bunch of talks before about Border Patrol and the president addressing that they're going to have a zero tolerance policy on Border Patrol and how to address people who are coming into the country illegally, either crossing the border or either swimming from Cuba or other parts of South America and Central America. So there's been a lot of conflict about this. Just last week there was a rush of people, a caravan of people at the border, so there's been a lot of back and forth. One of the topics that was mentioned and one of the talking points was that they thought that this was for safety, that people who come here illegally, risk their lives to get here physically. But there's also a lot of debate as to, if they get here and they are in the country, is that saving their life to be in the United States as opposed to where they were before? There's a lot of debate, especially in a lot of places in Central America and South America where there's a lot of political conflict, a lot of civil unrest. So one of the big points that Sessions was saying was to say don't come unless you can come here through the proper channels. But it's been a big back and forth on both sides. The president obviously still wants to continue to build up a wall at the border and increase the presence of Homeland Security officials at the border and agents there. So we'll see what's coming up with that and how they'll get funding, how they'll legislate those kinds of decisions, and if there's going to be any big disciplinary, legislative, or prosecuted action against people who've come into the country illegally, and any sort of law or patrolling of those kinds of things. So we'll see. I do want to play for you, there was a press conference from the First Lady Melania Trump. She spoke in DC at the White House today. She is working on a new campaign called the Be Best Awareness Campaign. It's to help kids. One of the things that she had spoken about before the Trumps took in the White House was that she wanted to focus on cybersecurity and help children with, sorry, not cybersecurity, cyberbullying, to help kids with cyberbullying, and to raise awareness to help kids be their best self. So let's take a little peek at what she was speaking about today. This is from earlier, this is from Monday afternoon.
At the same time, children deserve every opportunity to enjoy their innocence. Every child should know it is safe to make mistakes and that there are supportive adults and friends nearby to catch them if they fail. We also need to be mindful that they should learn to trust in themselves and their own emotions. I believe our responsibility lies in the critical time before a child reaches adulthood. Let us teach children the importance of all aspects of their well-being, which includes a social, emotional, and physical health. There are too many critical issues facing children today. So the three main pillars of Be Best will include well-being, social media use, and opioid abuse. Together, I believe we should strive to provide kids with the tools they need to cultivate their social and emotional health. We can and should teach children the importance of social and self-awareness, positive relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Once a child understands these vital skills, they will be able to communicate openly with one another and instill positive feelings of mutual respect, compassion, and self-esteem. Let us teach our children the difference between right and wrong and encourage them to be best in their individual paths in life. Take, for example, Christian Bucks, a young man from York, Pennsylvania, who is here with us today. When he was in second grade, Christian introduced the Buddy Bench at his elementary school to address loneliness and help other kids build new friendships. The Buddy Bench allows classmates to connect during recess and helps ensure that no student feels lonely. If a child sits on the bench, it signals other students to come over and ask them to play. Christian school and community embrace the Buddy Bench, and today at least one can be found in all 50 states. Thank you, Christian, for your commitment to kindness. You should be very proud of your work, which is, I know, help countless children. Please stand up. Bravo. I'd also like to talk about Orchard Lake Middle School in West Bloomingfield Township, Michigan. I visited a school in October as part of National Bullying Prevention Month to speak to its students about the importance of being kind. While I was there, I visited their Viking Huddle class, which focuses on social emotional learning and teaches lessons about respecting others, inclusion, and being kind. As part of Be Best, I plan to highlight ideas and programs such as Buddy Bench and Viking Huddle class, with the hope that other schools or community groups will be inspired to replace their efforts and take steps to improve the well-being of our children. We have invited some of the Viking Huddle class here today. Thank you all for being and taking time here with us in the White House. As we all know, social media can be both positively and negatively affect on our children, but too often it's used in negative ways. When children learn positive online behaviors early on, social media can be used in productive ways and can affect positive change. I do believe that children should be both seen and heard, and it is our responsibility as adults to educate and remind them that when they're using their voices, whether verbally or online, they must choose their words wisely and speak with respect and compassion. As an example, Kalani Goldberg, an 8th grade student from Arizona, posted a video to her social media account to share the challenges she faced from bullies. In the video, she said, "Every day you're hurting me. Every day you're hurting each other. So please stop. Stop hurting me." Kalani and her family have joined us here today, and I'm happy to report that since posting her video, many have watched it, and most importantly, people have reached out to offer support and kindness. Thank you, Kalani, for being brave enough to share your story and also for using your experience to bring positive change. Please stand up, Kalani. I first learned about the real consequences of our nation's opioid epidemic during my husband's campaign. Since then, I have met with and learned from many people who have been affected by this true crisis. In October, I traveled to West Virginia to tour Lily's Place, the nation's first nonprofit infant recovery center. Lily's Place puts a priority on the whole family, so that infants born dependent on drugs are given the best opportunity to thrive. They have been successful in this endeavor because parents are also given the support and tools needed to recover and succeed. Lily's Place is a testament to the extraordinary work that everyday people can do when they put their mind to it. I will use Be Best to bring attention to programs such as this in order to encourage conversation and replication. In February, I went to Cincinnati Children's Hospital in Ohio, and a panel of doctors briefed me on the devastating effects that opioids are having, but also their important research on neonatal abstinence syndrome. I'm pleased to say that the representatives from both Lily's Place and Cincinnati Children's Hospital are here today. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your heroic work on behalf of children. I want to thank the many people I have met with and learned from over the past year while researching these vital topics on behalf of children. This includes the cabinet secretaries who have joined us here today, as well as representatives from Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Snap, Amazon, National Safety Council, and so many more. I would like to thank the President, the Vice President, Karen Pence, and other members of the administration, as well as the members of Congress who are here today. I'm honored to have you all with me, and I look forward to working together on the behalf of children in the coming years. In my time as First Lady of the United States, I will make every effort to be best at championing the many successful well-being programs in existence today and teach the tools and skills for emotional, social, and psychical well-being. I will also work to shine a spotlight on the people, organizations, and programs across the country that are helping children overcome the many issues they're facing as they grow up. I will continue speaking with leaders in the technology industry about children's online habits and raising awareness around the importance of positive behaviors. I will continue to work with those who are fighting drug addiction. And most importantly, I will continue to travel and speak to children directly about both their victories and difficult realities they face. My hope is that together we can be best at helping children and families find effective ways to educate themselves and support each other. I'm asking you all to join me in providing support and guidance to our children so that we can make a real difference. How we raise and educate our children on a variety of topics will provide the blueprint for the next generation. Together, let's encourage children to dream big, think big, and do all they can to be best in everything that they do. Thank you all for being here today. God bless you, your families, our children, and God bless the United States of America. And now it is my pleasure to call my husband to the stage to sign a proclamation calling today, May 7th, Be Best Day. Mr. President?
Melania, thank you very much. That was truly a beautiful and heartfelt speech. It's the way she feels, very strongly. America is truly blessed to have a First Lady who is so devoted to our country and to our children. Over the past 15 months, Melania has visited hospitals, schools, families who have suffered from the opioid crisis and suffered very deeply. Everywhere she has gone, Americans have been touched by her sincerity, moved by her grace, and lifted by her love. Melania, your care and compassion for our nation's children, and I have to say this, and I say it to you all the time, inspires us all. Today we pledge to be best. Best for our families, best for our communities, and best for our nation. And now I am proud to sign the Be Best proclamation, and I think you all know who's going to get the pen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
So that was from earlier today. You just heard First Lady Melania Trump. She was addressing the world, the country, media about her new program called Be Best. As you remember from the Obama administration, the First Lady, former First Lady Michelle Obama, she was championing a lot of healthy eating stuff. So Melania Trump has chosen to champion causes of anti-bullying, cyberbullying, just helping kids, quote, be best and be their best self to help each other. She cited a couple of people that were attending this afternoon that had been bullied and had done different things where they are in the country to help other people who had been bullied or had been affected by cyberbullying online, which is a huge issue these days. So there was a lot of applause for that. This is, I think, one of the biggest speeches that she's given since her tenure, since her start as First Lady, since joining and her husband, President Trump, Donald Trump, in the White House. So I'm curious to see what's coming forward with this. There's been also, one of the things that she called on was to stop opioid addiction, that a lot of kids who are depressed or are going through different things will turn to drug addiction and drug abuse as a way of coping. So she was hoping to combat that as well. In fact, there's been some news today that Walmart is going to decrease or limit the number of opioid medications that a person can have, specifically based on which drugs they are. And there was also some, where else was this? I'm looking at my notes here. Walmart won't provide more than 7 days worth of, they're not going to limit. They are going to, for some drugs, they will not be providing more than 7 days worth of drugs to help combat some of the addiction stuff. So we'll see what's going on with that as Melania continues with this program, working with kids across the country to help them be best, as it's called. So next up, and I have a little bit of time before I have to go today, just wanted to touch on the, speaking of the president, he announced today that he is going to make a decision on whether or not the U.S. will be involved in the Iran deal. So he's going to announce this tomorrow on Tuesday. He had until the 12th to make this decision. We have a little bit of, let me bring this up. There was an interview that Tom Fitzgerald, reporter, did yesterday with one of our experts, one of our foreign affairs experts on the Iran decision. So let's bring that up for you to listen in.
Welcome back to Fox 5 News on the Hill. You know, President Donald Trump is hinting that he will bring the United States out of the Iran nuclear deal. And the White House is saying the U.S. will pull out of the deal if Tehran refuses to renegotiate it.
The deal never should have been made in the first place, and even the fact that they had been known to be bad actors to some degree, the degree to which they were not being honest was not fully known at the time the Iran deal was made, is our understanding.
Well, the president has set a May 12th deadline to decide if he will end U.S. involvement in this deal. This morning we have Behnam Ben Tablu from the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Behnam, we appreciate you coming in. All right, so earlier this week, before the president spoke one day, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu comes out and he gives this almost lecture-like presentation about all the things Iran has been doing to violate this deal. Have they been breaking this the entire time?
Well, we know that Iran has been violating the spirit of the text of the deal, as well as the letter of the UN Security Council resolution.
How are they
so,
doing?
in terms of the spirit of the deal, they've actually played around with some of their centrifuges a little bit more, done some more R&D that they shouldn't have done, but most importantly that they've violated the arms transfer and ballistic missile testing prohibitions of the UN Security Council resolution, which codifies the Iran nuclear deal. What the Netanyahu documents show is Iran's past nuclear weapons work, mostly which we knew existed, but we did not know to this amount of detail and to what amount of interest Iran had in uranium and metallurgy, for instance.
The 1-2 punch between Netanyahu and then the president immediately following him that day in his own news conference was eye-opening to a lot of folks. But, you know, the president raises this point. Why should the United States honor an agreement that one of the parties to it, Iran, doesn't seem to be honoring itself?
Well, Iran has an interest, in fact, in retaining the deal because it's so heavily slanted in its favor. I think the way the president set up the discussion about the Iran deal was actually quite good. It's that the deal gives Iran more than it gives the United States. And the president is in a good position to try to renegotiate that deal. And I hope he weaponizes the Netanyahu documents in his debate with Europe to actually fix the deal before May 12.
Iran has been a pariah on the world stage for close to 40 years right now, and this deal was supposed to be their step back in to the Brotherhood of Nations. When they don't honor something like this, what does it say to the wider world about how an agreement with Iran will be taken?
I think first and foremost, it shows that you can't have a limited deal with this type of regime. This type of regime, as you mentioned, for 40 years, it's only been in power for 40 years. It came through, or entered it in the world stage through an act of international terrorism. It took U.S. Diplomats hostage in 1979, as you remember. But the deal is supposed to pave the way for Iran to reconnect with the world banking system. But how can you reconnect this country with the world banking system when it's ascendant in Syria, when its terrorist capabilities have grown, and when the nuclear deal does not address the regional aspects of Iran's bad behavior?
In a wider world, a lot of people have been tying together what's been going on in North Korea with the president's pressure program on North Korea, which seems to have produced results. And looking at Iran, would the same course of action that has been used against North Korea work successfully in Iran, maximum pressure?
Absolutely. But as much as I support the president using maximum pressure, he should use that pressure to get a better and different nuclear deal.
What would be better?
What would be better is if you include the three things the U.S. is looking to include with Europe in the nuclear deal. That's ballistic missiles, which is a delivery vehicle for a nuclear weapon, military site inspections, which the IAEA can do but hasn't done yet, as well as sunset clauses, removing the limitations that will expire, removing the expirations on the limitations in Iran's nuclear program. We want a permanent cap to this program.
We thank you so much for coming in this morning to talk about this. Obviously, May 12th is coming up. We'd like to have you back in again after we decide what it is the United States is going to be doing when the president finally reveals. Welcome back to Fox 5.
Again, that was a conversation from Sunday's Fox 5 on the Hill on the Iran deal. The president announced today that he will be making a decision and making an announcement tomorrow following there's been a lot of controversy whether or not he's going to pull out of the Iran deal. So we'll see what's going on with that, and we'll be bringing you that live. I'm presuming here on Fox 5 Live as well as on Facebook. And before we go today, I'm going to play you one little other story. We have, let's see. This is a package from Fox News on the volcano. Some of the footage out of this, out of Hawaii, has been incredible to see. So let's take a look at that before we head out today.
And hoping on Hawaii's Big Island, shelters and relief centers are filling up with people driven out by the Kilauea volcano. The past few days have seen more eruptions, lava spewing hundreds of feet into the air. It's forced evacuations of some 2,000 people. Many got little or no notice. Homeowners in Leilani estates were briefly allowed back in to pick up whatever necessities they'd left behind. Liz Yunt and her husband grabbed more clothes and their cat. She says even that one quick return was a blessing.
It was just like the most joyful gratitude of, oh yes, we can go back and get those things we can get our hands on.
The Yunts are among locals who understand they may have no home to go back to. Dozens of houses already gone, destroyed by molten lava slowly oozing through the residential area, leaving a blackened trail of destruction.
As you go down the hill, you can see that Leilani Avenue doesn't exist anymore.
My son asks, Mommy, can we go home?
The lava is coming out of the ground from volcanic vents. Over the weekend, officials discovered more fissures, many of them too close to homes. The release of lava and toxic gas, prompting emergency officials to send out text messages, urging locals to, quote, go now. In addition to lava and sulfur gas, the area is still being rocked by earthquakes following that 6.9 on Friday. On the Big Island in Hawaii, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
So again, just to recap, that was some of the footage from out in Hawaii as a volcano eruption has affected some of the communities over there as they've begun to evacuate for their safety. So we'll keep tabs on that as well. That's it for me today. I'll be back tomorrow. So thank you all for joining us for this little bit. I know this was an abbreviated show, but wanted to update you guys and bring in whatever was going on here in the world.
It's a shot at the State Department where Secretary of State Mike Pompeo set to hold a joint news conference with Mexico's Foreign Secretary, scheduled for 5:15 Eastern Time.
Sorry, we're listening to some update here from our affiliates from Fox News. There's going to be a press conference with
and you can stream it.
The new Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He's going to be meeting with the Mexico's Foreign Secretary. So we'll see if that's at 5:15. That should be coming in on our Facebook page. Thanks again for watching and have a good rest of your day.